In the recent finale of Blue Lock Season 2, we have finally gotten the long-awaited victory against Japan's U20 team, and this match was really good. But let me ask you this, why was it good? Is it because we the viewers have finally received the win we have been waiting so long for? Well, what if the outcome was completely different? I have just created some scenarios that get worse and worse, and the last one is, well, I will let you figure that out for yourself. Alright, picture this. It's the final moments of the match, and everyone's expecting Isagi to make his move. The build-up has been there, the pieces are in place, but instead, it's Rin who steps forward and delivers the decisive blow. He's the one who scores, and in that moment, he is the hero. Now, if this had been the actual ending, it wouldn't have been a total curveball. Rin's been set up as the prodigy from the start, skilled, confident, and relentless. So seeing him come out on top feels natural, maybe even inevitable. But where does this leave Isagi? He's been climbing, growing, trying to prove he has what it takes to be the centerpiece of Blue Lock. If Rin claims that spotlight, it sets Isagi back, not just physically, but mentally. It forces him to ask some tough questions. Am I too focused on teamwork? Am I not selfish enough? Rin's confidence, meanwhile, goes through the roof. He already believes he's destined to be the best, and this just reinforces it. You can probably imagine how that impacts their rivalry moving forward. Isagi, hungry to catch up, and Rin determined to stay ahead. It keeps the tension alive, but it doesn't change the bigger picture of Blue Lock. And that's why this alternate ending, while compelling, doesn't completely shake up the story. It's a strong finish, sure, but it feels like it fits too comfortably within the narrative we already know. But what happens when you throw in something unexpected? Say an injury, a betrayal, or a disqualification that flips the entire match on its head. That's where things start to get really interesting. It would go something like this. The match is nearing its peak, momentum is building, and it feels like the team is finally about to click. And then, out of nowhere, something happens that nobody sees coming. Maybe Rin takes a hit and is sidelined. Maybe Isagi gets caught in a controversial foul and is disqualified. Or, and this is the juiciest twist, one of their own, someone like Bato, or even Rin, turns on the team in a selfish bid for glory. Now, a twist like this does something fascinating. It flips the focus away from the predictable star players. With Rin or Isagi out of the picture, it's up to someone else. Maybe Chigiri with his speed, or Nagi with his raw instinctual talent, to step up and secure the win. This would be the kind of moment that forces the team to dig deep and rely on each other in a way they haven't before. It's no longer about one player carrying the team, it's about collective effort, shared trust, and rising above the chaos. But let's talk about the emotional side for a second. An injury or a betrayal doesn't just affect the outcome of the match, it hits the players on a personal level. Rin might start questioning his limits. Isagi could be left wondering if he is truly indispensable, and a betrayal, that's a fracture in the team's foundation. Trust is broken, and rebuilding that is no small task. So what would that mean for the story? A twist like this adds drama and unpredictability without derailing from the main plot. The team still wins, but it's not in the way anyone expected. It sets up new arcs for character growth, new rivalries, and maybe even a deeper dive into the psychological standpoint of teamwork and ambition. It's the kind of ending that makes you sit up and go, whoa, I didn't see that coming. It keeps you invested, it keeps you guessing, and the door opens for some seriously intriguing possibilities in the next season. But what if that twist wasn't just about a single moment? What if the entire match flipped on its head because Blue Lock lost? This is where things would get heavy. Imagine the U20 team, a group everyone assumed would crumble under the pressure of Blue Lock's tactics, actually pulled off the win. That's right, Blue Lock loses. It would start with the U20 team delivering a crushing blow. Not just on the scoreboard, but to the confidence of every single player on Blue Lock. Isagi, Rin, Nagi, everyone is left standing in disbelief. And here's the kicker, the defeat feels earned. The U20 team didn't win because Blue Lock was unlucky. They won because they played smarter, harder, and as a more cohesive unit. Now, what happens next? First off, the players are in complete disarray. The defeat forces them to confront the hard truth. Their individual brilliance wasn't enough. For someone like Rin, this might trigger a full-blown identity crisis. For Isagi, it's the realization that even his meticulous planning can fall short. And then there's Ego Jinpachi, the man who's been preaching selfishness, individualism, and the power of ego, is suddenly on the hot seat. The Japanese Football Association might start questioning whether Blue Lock is even worth continuing After all, if the program's best can't defeat the national U20 team, what's the point? But here's where this alternate ending gets interesting. This loss doesn't have to be the end. In fact, it could be the turning point the team needs. Defeat often teaches lessons that victory never could. For Isagi and the others, it's the perfect chance to reassess their strategies, reevaluate their priorities, and most importantly, grow. Think about the underdog redemption arc this sets up. Season 3 could kick off with players coming back stronger, hungrier, and more united than ever. If Blue Lock still existed, they'd have a fire in their hearts and something to prove, not just to the world, but to themselves. This alternate ending doesn't just flip the script, it pretty much deepens the story. It pushes the characters into uncharted territory. It also challenges the core philosophy of Blue Lock, and finally sets the stage for an emotional comeback that fans would never forget. But if you thought losing to the U20 team was devastating, wait until we talk about the most catastrophic possibility: a complete collapse of the Blue Lock team. This would be the darkest timeline, the one where Blue Lock doesn't just lose, they completely fall apart. I'm talking about chaos on the field, egos clashing, Critical's mistake piling up, and ultimately the team crumbling under the pressure. Picture this: the match starts strong, but as the game progresses, the cracks in the team's foundation begin to show. Maybe it's Bato refusing to pass, Rin trying to take control and ignoring everyone else, or Isagi overthinking and hesitating at a key moment. One mistake leads to another, and before they know it, the team is unraveling. The result? A humiliating loss. Not just a defeat, but an implosion so catastrophic that it leaves everyone questioning everything. The players, the coaches, even the audience. It's a complete shock to the system. And here's where things get super interesting. The collapse doesn't just affect the scoreboard, it destroys the team's unity. Players who once trusted each other are now pointing fingers. The blame game starts, and any sense of teamwork is out of the window. For Isagi, it's a brutal wake-up call. For Rin, it's confirmation that he can't rely on anyone but himself. And for players like Nagi or Chigiri, like I mentioned above, they're questioning if they even want to keep going. And what about ego? His entire philosophy, this radical idea that ego and selfishness are the keys to greatness, is thrown into question. The JFA might start pulling the plug on Blue Lock, claiming it's a failed experiment, and Ego, for the first time, even he might be forced to rethink his approach. But let's take a step back. What does a total collapse really mean for the story? It's devastating, sure. It's the kind of ending that leaves you stunned, maybe even frustrated. But it also creates an opportunity to rebuild from the ground up, to confront the flaws in the system, and to push these characters further than before. Imagine the players coming back. Again, if Blue Lock even still existed. But not just to win, but to prove that they can be better. Not just as individuals, but as a team. It would add layers to the story that go beyond just scoring goals. It explored trust, resilience, and what it really takes to rise from the ashes. This scenario, it's brutal. It's heartbreaking, but it's also powerful. It pushes the narrative into uncharted territory. It forces every character to evolve, and it leaves us with a story that's not just about soccer, but about the human spirit. Now, what would all of these alternate endings really mean for Blue Lock? For the players, it's simple. Setbacks like these force growth. Isagi, Rin, Nagi each would have to adapt and evolve in their own way, and that's where the real story lies. For Blue Lock itself, a loss or collapse could challenge Ego's philosophy. Does he double down on his methods or rethink the entire program? Either way, the stakes get even higher, and the tone? A different ending could push the story to explore deeper themes: teamwork, trust, or even what it truly means to fail and rebuild. These scenarios don't just change the plot, they redefine the heart of Blue Lock. So now that I made these alternate endings, I'm curious what you guys think. Was there a specific outcome that really caught your attention? Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below, because I love interacting with all of you. Whether you agree with the actual ending or think one of these alternate scenarios would have been more interesting, which I'm on the actual ending because all these other ones are just too stressful, let's keep the conversation going. Well, with all that said, I really hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did end up enjoying me being creative, hitting that subscribe button would truly help me so much. I genuinely appreciate you all so much and can't wait to hear from you in my next video. And as always, remember, stay curious.